So today I want to talk about a few things. First of all, I want to talk about healing the inner terrorist. There is a lot going on in terms of the world right now with Israel, with Hezbollah, with the Yemeni terrorists, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and in Gaza, terrorism called Hamas. So let's talk about the inner terrorist, believing that as we heal the inside, we can heal the outside. The whole world is connected. So war is the unseen component, is present, where there's a false edge, a past stuck energy, and the wall that limits. So when we offer versus when we conquer, we have to have a self to offer in order to offer the self for anything, right? And then the dominator of the inner world space is what we might call the terrorist. Do we have to commit to a shareholder? A shareholder is someone who has a share in our life, a stockholder, a stakeholder. We have two personalities and identities that each give up the personal interest in order to embody the realization that the chance for an other is a gift. Is anyone not enough? The woman and the teacher, the idea is wisdom and understanding, which births students, children. In the time of the Messiah, they say it's going to be 6 at a time, maybe 12, some even say 60. It's like fish or rabbits or a litter, like having a litter. There's focus, patience, generosity, and foresight. This is the femininity. And the Leviathan is the whale. So we call Yashka Jesus, right? It said one fish is enough for everyone. If people don't eat fish, consuming the loss of each other is humility, is to be the food. Consuming the loss of each other really means to eat less of each other, to consume less of one another. I was in this relationship workshop by Dr. Avi, I think her name is Muschel, I'll spell it Muschel. When I reach out my hand and you're not there, I start to lash out, right? Because there's this outward running away versus, so lashing out is outward, running away is inward. A protest because we feel empty. So in other words, when I reach my hand out and you're not there, I start to feel empty, and we protest this by either lashing out or running away. Partners, we have communication, 1, 2, vulnerability, or even it includes elements of privacy. 3, balance self and others' needs. 4, needing to cling to an attentive listening, seeing, caring, loving person. 5, responsibilities. So each can get lost in our own world. It deepens with time. We can flip, dig, look in, see why. This is what relationship is. When we putting tension, trying to win, judging, focusing on the negative, not seeing the value in the other, getting loud, over talking, defensive, name calling, deflecting, shaming. This insecurity is not knowing that we're loved. We're not getting the benefit of the doubt. We're not wanting to be honest because of the previous negative feedback from that person. We're half hiding, half exposing, and there's uncomfortable reactions to transitions, not feeling worthy of relaxing and enjoying, and not learning to give ourselves what we need, and instead feeling dependent on someone who cannot provide that to us. I will share in the Zohar, chapter 22, in the Mishpatim are laws. It says in verse 519 from Rabbi Yehuda, he who falsifies judgments is false to the institutions of the king. What are the institutions? Who exercises faithful love, justice, and righteousness. These 3 things are intertwined. Hashem delights in these 3 things: faithfulness, righteousness, faithful love, justice, and righteousness. Rabbi Yossi says here, these are the 3 institutions of the throne. And he quotes from 2 places. One is Tehillim, the Psalms, chapter 89, verse 15. It says, righteousness, justice, and justice are the foundation of the throne. And in Isaiah 16:5, it says, and in mercy a throne was established. So it's very similar. One says justice, righteousness, and faithful love. The other says mercy, justice, and righteousness. So we could say these are like the bedrock for a healthy relationship, and starting inside so we can stop having the inner terrorist. So what's a manhood? We often think of a man's penis representing his wife, because his pleasure, his enjoyment, his ability to know how wonderfully good it is and to give it away out of devotion. He's a provider. So is his loved one. His loved one can enjoy life. Both can be hard workers or easygoing slow climbers because of his capability and stamina to give away the delicious or the comforting or the sweet stuff. It's like the fact that he loves it, he wants to give it away. That's the idea. Like a man's penis doesn't go inside of himself. It goes into another person, and he can cause pleasure with it. So let's talk about control issues. To ignore red flags because of low self-esteem, like, oh, maybe there won't be anything better for me. Or to have constant flow of stimulation or substance instead of being okay with emptiness, open space. to think I might know what someone else needs, or to tell someone what or how to think, to interrupt or override or overtalk or raise voice, or to be unwilling to wait a few minutes, or to struggle to speed up or slow down, to refuse to try new things with a witness, to refuse to go to a new place without escape plan, or these comfort security items, to only want to date an insecure person who will be more likely to sell out their autonomy and independence in order to get company and distraction, and for outside care and validation rather than bond with their own inner self. And Yael Dworkin, in the class called, actually she teaches a lot. It's from Yeshiva Simchat Shlomo. This class was part of the group called Shaviti. It's like a program. So she says the animal body and the needs are comfort, not always newness and variety. It does need to feel satisfied. And if we think of a cattle, it grazes in the same food, the same place, and moves only when there's no more of those resources. And we even make blessings on new items, right? So it's special. And spiritual body and needs is creative possibilities, choices, options, growth, change, newness. And it's a wanting, it's going toward, it's greaterness. So one wants to stay the same and be comfortable. And one wants to enhance and grow and improve. So when we remember life, whenever we have happiness, like an extra dose, we can have the gratitude for being beyond the sustenance and satisfaction. So even a little bit more. In other words, if we connect with our animal body, we could use it for holy work of becoming satisfied. If we're in satisfaction, we can actually then work with our spiritual. And our spiritual is that life and is the spirit and the flesh, the animal and the divine. And so Shlomo Melech, King Solomon, says in Koheles, in Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun, to say that in the physical world we won't find that infinite feeling connection through potential. Under the sun means in this physical world. In the material realm, there are ends. In the extreme, the finite is death. So limits, ends, borders, boundaries. The limit is the terminal, the termination. So terminal means the endpoint, termination means the final endpoint. And we need to be in the unchanging to see that which keeps going on forever and ever. That's our newness, that is internal newness. And more giving, more patient, humble, and really that regeneration that doesn't stop deepening, advancing, and developing. Life is not disposable. Relationships are not disposable. Commitments to loyalty are chances to change on the inside. Rather than having to change out the person, we can change. That's how we really get that super dose of newness. We on the inside feel that newness, that we can be renewed and become new. So not trying to change the person or the life force outside of ourselves. Because every day God, Hashem, renews his creation. And there is this idea of urgency versus imminence. So this was from the Inter-Inclusion website. I don't have a specific area I got it from, but I was just inspired by it. How instant gratification does come in an instant, but it also is gone in an instant. It can be. Investment requires time to bear fruit and consideration to know what is truly worth investing in, and what we purchase, what we own, what we want to make sure it's here for the long run. That's the benefits, right? So an open field space has the ability to grow whatever's planted within it. Based on how it's cared for. But there's so much also not in the grower's control, whether it's rain, any kind of weather, parasites, animals destroying, the parasites or the animals destroying the area, or some certain creatures will help, like worms. So we have to have faith and trust in the yields of what we chose to plant, and we do our work. We can, also think about requirement of constant input and involvement without seeing the crops or results in this lifetime is often the case, because there are some things that grow after 100 years. There's a carob tree, it takes 70 years to start to produce fruit. So in Hebrew, one last point is, in Hebrew, Bas is daughter, and Bayit is house, and the Yud is Hashem in the middle. So the house, the daughter becomes the house when Hashem is inside of her. She's a home. And I want to share from Rachel Halpern, taught by Rabbi Nachman at the Karlbach Shul. She's teaching from Rabbi Nachman that there's this white noise. Speaking about the field, right? All frequencies are available in us and in the world and everywhere, and they're floating at all times. And we can pluck the good points, the positive, choosing what to connect out and draw out and see. That's how we make harmony, music out of everything. And the sound is carried, tradition is carried, frequency is carried. We have a tuning fork adjustment. The bearers we are of rhythm and song. And it's an acceptance of the whole Torah to be fully attuned and a melody. And I will stop here and wish you a blessed rest of your day. And we're entering an interesting period. I say interesting because it's, I don't want to call it good or bad. It could be rough for some people. It's called the 3 weeks. Today, the 17th of Tammuz, a lot of things have happened. There was an idol brought into the Holy Temple. The wall was breached of the holy of Jerusalem, and the sacrifice on a daily basis was not brought in. The tablets were broken because Moses saw them dancing, not just sinning, but dancing while they're sinning, so with joy. And there was also a Torah that was burned. So I'll stop here. We internalize all that, we process, and we want the opposite, right? We don't want the instant gratification. We don't want to chase newness in only the physical world. We want to release our control issues and heal that inner terrorist in order to have proper relationships, lawful relationships, where the foundation is justice, righteousness, and mercy, or faithful love. Okay, all the best. Bye.